We continue the conversation with Mngxitama, the leader of BLF, on the statement by President Jacob Zuma last week on Friday, saying that government will amend its laws to allow for expropriation of land without compensation. So, Andile, a study back in 2013 said about half of the land that already acquired for restitution was still to be transferred to its intended beneficiaries. In your view, why is the land question still an elusive matter, and where do you think the bottlenecks are?
Ultimately, the land question in South Africa has been blocked by this willing buyer, willing seller policy which has followed up to now. So the president's statement, when he says the land must be returned without paying for it, is addressing precisely that fundamental question. We didn't have a land reform, a land redistribution program in South Africa since 1994. We had some kind of statements and very bad policy which had blocked this. You know, it's now 23 years later. Only about 8% of the land has been bought back. In fact, if we continue in this space, it will take us more than 100 years to buy back only 30% of the land. I'm saying buy back precisely because this notion of buying the land is unethical. It is the distortion of the historical situation which happened here, which led to a dispossession of the land. So this is the beginning. This is for the very first time that we're going to have a land reform program or land redistribution program that is true to the historical question. Well, the challenge, quite frankly, is this. Does our constitution allow for land expropriation without compensation? Right now, what we are calling for as Black First, Land First is everyone in society who wants justice, who wants reconciliation, must support President Zuma. We're calling for all the political parties to suspend their differences to address a fundamental question of land.
And we do know that some political parties are of the same view, of course.
Well, we hope so.
Like
we hope so. We hope the political parties will not play political football. We hope they will not listen to their handlers elsewhere. We hope that this week, we understand in Parliament is going to be a discussion on the land question. We want to see all the political parties coming out and saying, President Zuma, you are right, we support you, we'll give you our votes, because you need a two-thirds majority to amend Section 2 of the Constitution, which is the property clause. We like to see this because otherwise it means that our political parties, which have been saying land expropriation without compensation, are playing a political game. They are not serious about returning land to black people.
All right. And obviously you do not believe in the willing buyer, willing seller initiative. But why do you see the need of going around asking people if blacks should buy back their land? You're mobilizing for about 1 million signatures.
That's right. Up to now, the politicians, even the president, the ruling party, and even the analysts in society, opinion makers, do not accept this proposition that land in South Africa belongs to black people. We wanted to show them that 1 million black people will come out and say, in fact, we do not want to buy back this land. That is a social mobilization to support this call now, which has been made by our president. That's why we're so pleased that the president of the country, for the first time since 1994, has come out and has accepted the truth, which up to now has been avoided. Land in South Africa, all of it, is stolen property and has to be restored to black people without paying the land, without paying a cent for it. We don't think there is another important matter bigger than this one.
But what about the white people living in South Africa? What do you say? Because they also belong in the country as per the Constitution.
Oh, they will get a piece of land. I mean, we're not chasing them away. But the land belongs to us. We will set up the rules to distribute this land. And if they want a piece of land, they will also get. But the essential question is the land belongs to us.
Right. Your statement says you will also embark on a process of land occupations. What do you mean by that?
We support President Zuma's call for land expropriation without compensation, and we say the underlying logic of it means land belongs to black people, has been stolen. Now, that is a legal process of amending the law in the parliamentary process. But we, as a revolutionary movement, are going to mobilize black people who are landless to also occupy land. Because
illegally so?
Well,
because if they do it without proper procedures, it means it is illegal.
If I steal your watch and you meet me in the street and you want your watch back, how can that be illegal? This land was stolen.
But what we've seen cases going to court about exactly the same thing
because the law is out of kilter. The law, it is not consistent with the historical truth and justice, and we're simply correcting this.
But Andile, why don't you just give this process time and a fair chance for it to unfold rather than going the illegal route? Because it is illegal.
Well, from the white perspective, it is illegal. From those who were dispossessed illegally by the settlers, it is a redress. So it depends from your perspective. We will support the president, we'll support parliament. At the same time, we'll organize our people. We have waited for 23 years. It's been too long. We're not going to wait for much longer. The politicians must be put under pressure to correct this matter, to make sure that the laws catch up with the reality of our land dispossession.
Andile, this is a developing story, but I'm afraid due to time constraints, we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much. Andile Mngxitama, he is the leader of BLF, talking to us about the president's speech that government will amend its laws to allow expropriation of land without compensation. You can talk to us about that, but now it's a